The New England Patriots had prime Tom Brady. Real Madrid had prime Cristiano Ronaldo. Barcelona had prime Lionel Messi. The Chicago Bulls had prime Michael Jordan, and the Miami Heat had prime LeBron James. But in the comic book side of things, DC and Marvel are currently having prime James Gunn, because it seems that everything this nigga does, he does not miss. It seems that everything James Gunn produces are all hits in this current generation. It seems that everything before that he touches were shit, but once he puts his little greasy fingers on these projects, he now turns them to gold. And we have been seeing this example be replicated time and time again, whether it's in Marvel with the Guardians of the Galaxy series and all of his movies, even the Christmas special, that it wasn't really as good as the movies, but it was still serviceable, it was still solid. But the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, in my honest opinion, are some of the best Marvel movies in the entire MCU slate, even though I don't think that they are the best movies in the entire MCU slate, because Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, in my honest opinion, are still the best movies that the MCU completely has. And these movies that they're going up against are juggernauts like Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, the original Avengers, and Captain America Civil War. So this actually makes you think that, damn, how good was James Gunn in Marvel? So it was the smartest idea for DC to actually hire James Gunn in hopes to save DC. And now at first, a lot of people were skeptical about James Gunn being brought into DC, because remember when Henry Cavill was still actually being eyed for playing Superman and reprising his role, people were mad that James Gunn came in and canceled his project, canceled Henry Cavill's plans, canceled The Rock's plans, and he put his plans in place, even though realistically Warner Bros. Actually hired James Gunn before the whole Henry Cavill Black Adam situation. But I won't get into that. I'm talking about James Gunn specifically because we have been seeing what James Gunn has been doing in DC in the last 3 years. His Suicide Squad, in my honest opinion, was peak. And to be honest, bro, I'll be completely dead ass, it was the best project in the DCEU banner. And I'm just being completely dead ass. I'm being straight up, because Wonder Woman 2017 was great. It was peak, but her follow-up movie was complete ass. That if you actually compare both franchises together, the Wonder Woman series and the Suicide Squad movie, the Suicide Squad holds up more and it's more entertaining in my honest opinion. And also we got Peacemaker series from James Gunn. So we're seeing two back-to-back bangers already, two back-to-back peak projects that he produced for DC already. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this guy produced bangers in Marvel, he jumped ship to DC, and he's currently producing bangers, and he's showing that he respects the source material. He respects where these characters came from, whereas other movie directors, they don't really give a damn about the source material. They don't care about the comic books, and they just want to make these characters as if they created them. So seeing all of that, seeing everything that I literally just told you that happened in a span of 8 years, I do firmly believe that James Gunn can save DC, and we're seeing how he rebranded DC under the DCU banner, and it's reminiscent of the peak DC logo. Not only that, all of these are all hits, mind you. He has made many hits. This man cannot miss. This nigga cannot miss. So when I saw that Creature Commandos would be announced and be released December this year, I was actually optimistic and not skeptical, because I knew I could trust James Gunn. And knowing that Superman is gonna be released under James Gunn next year, and watching Creature Commandos right now, I am more than confident to predict that Superman will be good because Creature Commandos is damn good. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Creature Commandos is damn good. And I see some people are trying to say, oh, Creature Commandos is exactly like Peacemaker. It's exactly like Suicide Squad. It's exactly like Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, in some ways you could say that, but these characters that he's dealing with, Creature Commandos, like G.I. Robot, The Bride, Rick Flag Sr., Dr. Phosphorus, Nina Mazursky, Eric Frankenstein, and all these characters I'm talking about that are in this show in DC, they are mostly used for gag characters, for comedy roles, and the way that this shows depicts these characters, it's, in my honest opinion, honoring their source material, because the first episode of this show, it starts off with Amanda Waller. She is told by the US government that she cannot use any more human subjects for her missions. She cannot put chips into any more human subjects, so she has to resort to using people who are not human, people who are either dead corpses, people who are mutants, and people who are impervious to pain, really. And all of these categories fit these characters. Like The Bride, she is not human, she's a walking corpse. Dr. Phosphorus, he is basically a immortal mutant. So she is now tasked by Argus to bring these new people, bring these prisoners, and to take them to this country called Pokolistan to guard this queen, this soon-to-be queen called Ilana, because Cersei is trying to attack Pokolistan. And Cersei, we are seeing that she's already established in this universe. We're already seeing that the Amazons of Themyscira are already established, and we're actually treated to this fact because it seems that Wonder Woman is already a sin of some sort in this universe. So since Cersei is now at large in Pokolistan, they need help to protect Ilana. So when they now reach Pokolistan, we see all the different characteristics of these characters. I like how they make these characters act, and my favorite character so far is G.I. Robot, because he hates Nazis, man. He's patiently waiting on the day he can kill a Nazi. In his words, he said that he waited 74 years and a couple of months just so that he can kill one Nazi. And when he was talking with Nina Mazursky, he actually politely asked her, hey, would you want to kill Nazis with me? I would really like it if you would kill Nazis with me. So that was funny. And we see that Weasel is a weirdo, because Weasel, he is a known child killer. He killed 27 children, and that's why he is up here. But we also know about Weasel in the Suicide Squad movie that he survived his death. So now he's being held as a prisoner on this team. So as they're basically settling down in the Pokolistan base, they meet the soon-to-be queen Ilana and her guards. And Ilana, she has a crush, she has a hard-on for Rick Flag Sr. And we're seeing throughout the episode that she is actually becoming a little bit of a ditty, you know. Rick Flag Sr. was telling her, no, I don't want you, I don't really want this right now. But she actually kind of almost force herself onto Rick Flag Sr. So I was like, damn, she's kind of a ditty. But as this is going on, you know, it's still fairly calm. But we see the bride, she has a plan. And also the Dr. Phosphorus has a plan. And I liked how they did this, because these guys are criminals. They are prisoners. If you tell them that you have to do this, they're not gonna do this. If you tell them that they have to stay at one place, they will not stay at this place. So I like how they made two prisoners of this team break off in the first episode. So Dr. Phosphorus, he wanted to break off by sneaking into Rick Flag Sr.'s room so that he can grab the phone that is used to detonate their callers and basically kill them. So he wants to turn that off so that he can escape, but he is stopped by Rick Flag Sr. and they have this crazy fight where they fight throughout the bedroom, and then the floor breaks, and then I'll fight in the kitchen, and it was bloody, it was intense. I'm like, yeah, this is cooking. James Gunn, he's a master chef at cooking these fights and cooking these scenes. But now onto the bride's case. The bride, she actually snuck out of her room because she wants to go to this castle, and once she wants to go to this castle, she's actually interrupted by Nina Mazursky, because Nina, she is curious, and she's even depicted and described by Amanda Waller as the one who can actually keep this team in check. because of her great like attitude and her great personality. So when she sees the bride trying to leave, she's so curious and wants to know where she's going, and she actually just needs a friend, you know. So I like that. And when the bride, she's just being so rude, trying to push her off, saying, oh, I don't want you to come, but if you want to come, whatever. And the bride and Nina take a taxi to this castle, and this castle is actually where the bride was born, because it will be explained in the next episode. The bride, she's coming to this castle to get the tourmaline necklace, but this is actually thwarted when the episode ends, because as they reach the castle, we see that Cersei, she has the address to her location, and Cersei is wanting to kill the creature commandos because they are in her way of taking over Pokolistan. So the episode ends there, but it picks right off where we left off in the second episode, because now let me go to Rick Flag Sr. Rick Flag Sr., after the fight, he was hurt, he was wounded up, he needed care, he needed first aid, and the person to give him that first aid was Ilana. Now Rick Flag, he's already apprehensive of Ilana because she tried to force herself onto him earlier that night. So when she now did it again, in my honest opinion, I was like, yeah, this girl is Diddy. But Rick Flag Sr., he was just too horny, so then he now actually succumbed to her advances, and he now eventually started to go to Pound Town onto Ilana. But as this was going on, we now see Nina and the bride, they are at this castle, this abandoned castle, and throughout the episode we're seeing flashbacks of her story, and her story is dark because Frankenstein is a simp and a stalker, because he is a experiment, the same as the bride, because the scientist that created both of them, when he first created the Frankenstein was sad that the scientist had a wife while the Frankenstein had no love. So the Frankenstein told the scientist, like, it's not fair that you have love when I do not. Isn't it fair that I kill your wife so that we can both not feel love? So the scientist, he thought to himself, okay, that's not gonna happen, so I will make you a bride. So once he shows Frankenstein the dismantled corpses, dismantled body parts of the bride, the Frankenstein, he is so in love with this new bride that he wants this new bride. So when the bride gets created and gets born, basically, you know, since she's not an infant and she is born as an adult, it's harder for her to process everything. So once she first sees Frankenstein, she is scared of Frankenstein. She does not want anything to do with Frankenstein, and damn, she curved Frankenstein on the spot. She stiff-armed him so hard that it was like, damn, this dude is getting into the levels of being a simp, because we're seeing that the bride, she's more comfortable with the scientist, but the scientist, he's genuinely nice, but he is a dick in my honest opinion, because he made the bride for Frankenstein, and instead of actually trying to at least tell Frankenstein, yo, you gotta chill, just be normal and try to get to know her, and instead of trying to at least get them together, he is actually having the bride for himself. But he is actually a nice guy. So we're seeing all of this actually culminate when Frankenstein has had enough, because he saw the scientists have sex with the bride. And by me saying they had sex, because the bride was being learned and taught many things. The bride was taught how to read, taught how to pronounce things, taught how to think by the scientist, and the scientist gave the bride the tourmaline necklace. The tourmaline necklace is what the bride is currently going back for. So when the Frankenstein saw that, he got mad and he now killed the scientist, and I was like, damn, that is crazy. So the Frankenstein has turned from simp to stalker, and to crazed stalker at that, because now he basically told the bride, if I can't have you, no one can. So throughout the episode, we see the bride and the Frankenstein throughout generations, from the 1920s to the 1940s to the 1960s, 1980s. They're fighting throughout because the bride wants to get away from the Frankenstein, and the Frankenstein is still chasing the bride because he still believes that is his queen. And talking about Frankenstein, in the first episode, we see that the Frankenstein, he has been aware of the bride's current location. So most likely in the third episode, we might see the Frankenstein return. So now that's enough talking about the bride. Now let's start to talk about what actually happened in the episode 2, because Cersei has touched down on the location and she is fighting the bride, and the fight is crazy. The fight is so intense that they are bleeding. They're fighting everywhere. All of Cersei's guards are basically killed by Nina and the bride is shown to have super strength. So she is going basically toe to toe with a villain that has gone toe to toe with Wonder Woman for years. So this fight is crazy and it's bloody. The fight ends when the bride is about to kill Cersei, but Cersei turns the bride's arms into inflatable balloon type things. So then she now pushes the bride off of the building and she falls all the way down, and she now basically cracked her spine. And then Nina now gets shot and her glass dome, that's her helmet, now gets broken. And as this is going on, the creature commandos are already en route to the location. So in episode 3, we will see how this happens. We will see if the creature commandos, they face Cersei or they face Frankenstein. And I'll be completely honest with you, like I said in the beginning of the episode, James Gunn has not missed. I don't think he can miss. I don't think it's in his ability to miss. I don't think it's in his nature to miss, because every project he has released for DC and Marvel have been hits, and Creature Commando is currently a hit. That it is 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, 8 out of 10 on IGN, and 4 out of 5, and it's just basically getting favorable reviews everywhere. So knowing this and seeing all of these facts that literally just dropped today, I am very confident that Creature Commandos will be a great series, and Superman will be a great movie, and the DCU will be a great universe, man. So that's the end of the video, man. What do you guys think of the first 2 episodes of Creature Commandos? I'm out. Peace.